Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Teofimo Lopez and Joe Smith Jr. are two great boxers, great fighters, who just had the wrong game plans. And what they showed us is that, excuse me. Okay, what they showed us is that even a great fighter or a really, really good fighter, when they throw discipline out the window, is that they're going to lose the fight, okay? There's always an exception when you have super heavy hands, but more than likely, you're probably not going to win, or you make the fight extremely difficult. Now, this past weekend, Joe Smith Jr., right? Some people gave him a chance to win because they just like him being a blue-collar guy, kind of guy who takes his lunch to work, will get out there and get his hands dirty, okay? So a lot of people kind of identify with Joe Smith Jr. If you really think about it, he shouldn't even have been in this position, seeing that he started so late and he just kind of got lucky with the guy he ran into in the boxing gym and his trainer. His trainer's father was a boxer. His trainer had a sound amateur record, but then some ups and downs happened with his dad. He didn't want to continue fighting. Then the trainer, years go by, he's in the gym and runs into Joe Smith Jr. He sees him training. He's like, who's that kid? Decides to take him under his wing. He's only trained one person. That one person he trained was Joe Smith Jr. And look at where Joe Smith Jr. ended up. They got a world title. None of that shit was in the plans for those guys. So to them, they still won. So in my opinion, Joe Smith Jr. is a winner, okay? However, when it comes to what he did Saturday night, I mean, we can say, like I said in another video, right? And I probably could use a better word. I said he fought stupidly, okay? Which he did, but there's a reason for that, okay? When you're in the ring and you get hit really hard, things change. Your mind starts racing. Your heart starts pumping. All of a sudden now you go into fight or flight mode. And Joe Smith Jr. wasn't really sure what to do. You could see that he was trying to stick to the game plan, where he would throw a jab, take a half step in, slight hesitation, and then square up, throw a hook right hand or hook left hand, and he was trying things. But what happens is he's had success with that little kind of half step in, kind of hesitation, let his hands go. He's had success with that in the past, and in that fight, he was able to get a couple shots off. But this is the problem, okay? The way you counter a lot of those hesitations, half step in, the guy trying to let his shots go, right? Because you can time, especially when you throw like a little feint with the jab and plan to come with the right hand. There's something called inside slip counter, outside slip counter. And once Bertabiev, he noticed the pattern. And once he noticed the pattern, it was lights out. He was either slipping outside, countering with the uppercut, or slipping inside, countering with the uppercut. And those were the shots that killed Joe Smith Jr. Now, Bertabiev was also slipping to the outside and coming over with the right hand, hitting him on the top of the head. And there was one shot he hit him with that knocked him down. In my opinion, the shot didn't look that hard. But at the same time, that's just a testament to how hard the Russian hits. He hits hard. But Joe Smith Jr., he just decided, I didn't hear what his corner said, right? But it looked to me like he just decided, you know what? Someone's going to get knocked out. I'm going to go out swinging, and it is what it is. And you know what? That gave us entertainment. It did. And at least he didn't go out not punching back, okay? And I'm not trying to kick a fighter when he's down like Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner would have rather, he's chosen when he's gotten to fights where he's felt like someone's had some power, especially after McDonough. He just won't let his hands go. You saw what Marcus Brown against Bertabiev. at a certain point in that fight, Marcus Brown stopped letting his hands go. And Beterbiev was just unloading on him. And that is because that's what happens when you're throwing your best shots at a fighter and you're not hurting them or you're not slowing them down. When you're throwing your best combinations, when you're slipping their punches, you're doing everything you can offensively, defensively. You try to go and tie them up and realize they're stronger than you, physically stronger, right? And you go to your corner, and your corner's there throwing water in your face and telling you, go out there and get the job done. And you hear them, but you're telling yourself, it's not that easy because you're in the ring. So what happens is most guys just stop fighting back. They go into a shell, defensive mode, and just, they just go into flight mode, and eventually the referee will stop because the person just kind of curl up in the corner and just, the referee will jump in. And that's what you see that Beterbiev does to people. Something in that man, in those hands, for that man to now be 18 wins, all 18 by knockout. Fighters will wilt, and they will eventually tap out because they can't take what's coming back at them. And Beterbiev can take what you're dishing out of him. Now, we're going to talk about Teofimo, but I am going to go ahead and go on record and say this. I think Bivol beats Beterbiev because Bivol can box, but he has to box the whole fight. He can't afford to get his back on the ropes or to stand there and try to exchange. You got to look at Beterbiev is Bivol is 6 feet tall, 6'1". So, and Beterbiev isn't that tall, but I think he's 5'11" to 6 feet. So they're not too far off in height, but I just think boxing-wise and the reach and everything, the advantage goes to Bivol. But we'll see. So Joe Smith Jr., he's shown that he has, a very good boxing IQ. He does a lot of things well. Heavy hands. But he got into a situation with somebody who was technically superior than him. The things that Beterbiev was doing, it's like he took him to school. Like what he learned in that Russian amateur program, and then continuing on when he came to Canada. It's hard for Joe Smith Jr. to make up those years of training that he just didn't have because whatever he was doing. Okay, but also the program that these guys go through in the European circuits and the Cuban circuits. Even in some of those Asian countries, like some of those programs. When I say European circuits, all of Europe. You see those guys come out there with sound fundamentals. And it's hard when you get in the ring with somebody and they have that sound amateur pedigree and they have those sound fundamentals. And you can be a great fighter, don't get me wrong. But it comes to a point to where the cream rises to the top. You've seen that in Rolly Romero and Tank Davis recently. Rolly looked good. I don't care what anyone says. Rolly earned his respect. But at some point, mistakes the inexperienced boxer makes that the experienced boxer is just not going to make. The cream rises to the top, and they eventually get outboxed and get knocked out. I mean, it is what it is. So Joe Smith Jr. is still great. He still has a lot of gas in the tank. They just got a monster running around at 175, okay? And it is what it is, okay? Now, Teofimo Lopez, the man can do everything, okay? There's no need to really try to break down what happened with Teofimo Lopez. We're just drawing a comparison between him and Joe Smith because these are two fighters who just decided to make it a tough man contest. Now, Joe Smith, I already said, I think he made it a tough man contest because he felt that power and he was like, wow, I'm going to go out swinging. And that's commendable. But Teofimo Lopez, he wasn't like, I'm going to go out swinging. He's like, I'm going to come in swinging. And he was fighting with emotion. He was angry. His dad kind of, primed him up and said, go get him. And in the first round, the first 2 minutes, it looked like he was going to get him out of there. Kambosos weathered the storm. But Teofimo Lopez didn't fight smart because Kambosos' whole style is being able to counter you. And he took 2 steps back. He stepped back twice. Step, boom, right hand. Counter Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez thought Kambosos was going to keep moving back. He just took those quick steps back to lull you in, to get you to drop your hands enough to get ready to throw that one big shot. And as soon as he did that, Kambosos countered him. Bam! Dropped him. But then the rest of that fight, you saw Teofimo Lopez, no discipline. No discipline, man. I mean, from the first second of the first round, he just had no discipline. And when you fight with that kind of emotion, it can work for you or against you if you apply it intelligently. And that's not what Teofimo Lopez did. Now, we're all human. And, you know, especially the way I feel is at some points we have to try to take the emotion out of it, okay? But it's it's impossible to do because you can't stop experiencing emotions. You know, we're emotional people. But when you get in the ring, you can remain emotional but have discipline, okay? You can be emotional, but you can't be without discipline. And Teofimo Lopez, that was his fight to win. If he would have just stayed calm, slowed it down a bit, more to his speed, jab, step around, double jab, come back out, get into a few exchanges, roll out, counter him. See, these are things that Teofimo does extremely well. Slipping inside, slipping outside. Get in, tie you up for a moment. When you get comfortable, slip in. Step in, tie you up for a moment. Just when you think you're getting comfortable and the referee's going to break, bounce you with the shoulder, counter with the big hook uppercut. See, those are things that's like one-on-one stuff. And Teofimo has the ability to do that. He will do that. He will step into you, and sometimes he goes in with like that Philly shell, that shoulder roll defense, and he'll bump you. He'll bump you with that left forearm, and then counter you, and you're not even expecting that. So he can do everything. Damn. Okay, sorry, the damn thing keeps skipping, man. But Teofimo Lopez can do everything. He can do everything. Okay? So, with him coming up, he has a fight, I think, August 13th. He's going to be fighting at 140 pounds. I think we're going to see Teofimo Lopez kind of learn from those mistakes and come in there. Now, his pride is hurt, so we could see him get in there and get a bit excited and try to prove a point again. But if you want to prove a point, that's fine, but do it behind discipline. Okay? Do it behind discipline. Do it behind your jab. Do it behind your counterpunching abilities. Do it behind your intelligent footwork. Do it behind your ability to tie opponents up, turn opponents. You know, do it behind all of that. But don't just do it behind anger. Okay? That's just not what's going to work. But Kambosos and Teofimo Lopez, it's a real easy fight to break down, man, because it was just a matter of an angry fighter against a calm fighter who was fighting intelligently and just counterpunching. That's all it was. Even when Kambosos got hurt, I think it was the 9th or 10th round, he came back and he kept fighting. And the reason he was able to keep fighting is because Teofimo Lopez didn't apply intelligent pressure on him. He just kept being reckless, looking for one shot. If Teofimo Lopez would have stayed calm, worked his way in behind the jab, set him up, because when you get hit like that and get hurt the way Kambosos was hurt late in the fight, your mind is cloudy. I don't care what any of these fighters say. You don't get hit like that where you could barely damn walk and are still thinking, you know, with a clear mind, a clear head. Nah, you go into that fight or flight mode, and Teofimo Lopez allowed Kambosos to continue to be in fight mode. He didn't put him in flight when he had him there. He didn't keep him in flight when he had him there, because Teofimo Lopez wasn't fighting with a cool head and sticking to those things that got him to success, to the successful spot that he was in. Him and his dad were just there. Man, I don't even know. I don't want to say nothing crazy about his dad. I've said some stuff before, nothing too outlandish, but you know, I think his dad ultimately, I would give his dad the blame for Teofimo losing that fight. You could say, well, Teofimo's a professional boxer, he should know better. And I agree to a certain point, you know. But the father is at fault because you could see in Teofimo's face, he wanted answers, he wanted guidance. Like at that point, that was son to dad, help me. I'm lost, I'm confused. And he didn't get that. He didn't get that. But going forward, this is the thing. Teofimo, he can make adjustments. He can make changes. There's not much for Teofimo to do. Teofimo is an outstanding boxer. Okay? He's an outstanding fighter. He can do everything. Everything. All he needs to do is calm down. Quit being so damn foolish and angry. And Teofimo gives people, he beats a lot of people. Joe Smith Jr., I'm not too sure about Joe Smith Jr. Obviously he can't beat Bivol. Obviously he can't beat Bertabiev. Him and Canelo Alvarez is a fight that probably would never get made. But Canelo Alvarez would probably beat Joe Smith Jr. Jake Paul's even talking about trying to get in the mix, but he wouldn't fight him. Jake Paul's trying to fight Mike Tyson, and Joe Smith Jr. is just not a big enough name. But all in all, you know, Teofimo, Joe Smith Jr., great fighters, but this is what happens when discipline, you know, goes out the window, man. You just can't throw your discipline away. And the difference between these guys is one fighter was angry in Teofimo and fought a foolish fight, and with Joe Smith Jr., I think he was just hurt, and he was just reacting. And his natural instinct when he gets hurt is to fight. And he just lost his right to complain. And his corner did the right thing. They didn't try to make excuses. Joe Smith Jr. is all right. He had a good Father's Day. He has a little son, I think, on the way. And so he's in a good space. I think going forward, he has no regrets because he didn't even expect to get to the position he's in. So mentally, he should be okay. But we're showing as far as the effects on a person's mental health, post-fight, Teofimo Lopez has suffered greatly. He still hasn't been able to accept the fact that he got his butt whipped by Kambosos. He's out here blaming everybody, cussing about everybody, disrespecting everybody. He went from just him and his dad ripping Bob Arum because they felt it was a lowball offer to stage the fight between him and Kambosos. Triller comes down with some big-ass offer. That fell through the cracks. Then he ends up fighting on the zone. Now he's back with Bob Arum. And my thing is this. You know, you can't go from one person to another person and back to that person to another person and back to that person. If I had to leave from you because I felt you weren't treating me right, I'm not coming back there. Unless he and his dad didn't have any true grounds on leaving Top Rank. They were just chasing money and being greedy. Okay? But they were ripping Top Rank. They thought they were being done dirty. Now, Bob isn't known for overbidding for anyone. Bob's not going to give you money that he doesn't have to. But he's not going to sell you super short either. But he's definitely not the overbidder. Okay? But my thing is this. If Teofimo and his dad felt like Bob was doing him wrong, why go back to him? It's like there's a saying, right? I don't care how thirsty I am, right? I can be dying of thirst. Still don't drink water from everybody. You know what I mean? Still don't drink water from everybody. Why am I come now dying of thirst and go drink your water and you poisoning your water? You know, if you're treating me bad, you give me poisoned water, man. I just rather keep being thirsty till I come across somebody who will give me some clean water and get me straight, get me back on my feet. And I feel in this case, Bob Arum wasn't a guy who was giving them poisoned water. He was giving them clean water. They just wanted more. And they wanted it when they wanted it, and they didn't want anyone to tell them anything. So they went looking across the road and saw somebody who was giving out all this water, which is money, and they went and left from where they were safe and took a risk and went across the road, and they got poisoned. And then they came scurrying back now. So, you know, that it tells a lot about their character, but at the end of the day, people get it. They're an emotional father and son duo, and I'll see them make more of these knee-jerk decisions in the future because they're just really emotional people, man, and just carry on and make a lot of noise. But anyway, man, fiasco in my opinion for Teofimo Lopez and now Joe Smith Jr. And I'm going to tell you, talk about a fighter who gets it right, right? And this is the most emotional fighter in boxing, Jermell Charlo, right? If Jermell Charlo, let me expand my thing while I'm telling y'all this, all right? Let me put this right here. Let me expand this, okay? This is my thing, right? I had to make this big when I say this. If Jermell Charlo can fight in a highly anticipated boxing match and a highly anticipated rematch with discipline, he's the most emotional person in boxing. If he can fight with discipline, everybody else should be able to fight with damn discipline because they're not more emotional than him. That's who they need to look at and figure it out. All these boxers who want to get mad in the ring and throw temper tantrums and complain and act crazy and don't know how to come back, man, even during the fight make adjustments to win or come back and have made adjustments and continue to make adjustments while the fight's ongoing. They don't know how to do that. They need to look at Jermell Charlo, one of the most emotional, you know, whether you like him or not, you know, colorful characters in boxing. But that joker remains disciplined, and that's why he wins. And he's fought everybody in his division. Shit, man. You might have to like him. You got to put some respect on that boy's name. Jermell is all about what he says, but takes discipline. And Joe Smith has it, Teofimo has it, but they let it go on their fight nights. Jermell never has, and that's why he's in the position he's in. That's why they're in the position they're in. Teofimo's not unified, not even undisputed. He should have been going that way. Joe Smith Jr. is not unified, not going towards undisputed. He should have been going that way. But, you know, they let discipline go out the window. Now who knows what could have happened. But that being said, shout out to all the veterans. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Y'all keep safe. Thanks for the support. And as always, I'm in the breeze.